3, 2, 1. Starting transmission.
But so lazy. But so lazy.
Oh, so lazy. Just so lazy. The hard-working man.
That's a day off. What the hell you're talking about? I just hid in the basement all day because my cousins were being babysat or watched or whatever the hell we're calling it now. Two of them are old enough to probably babysit, but my uncle's paranoid, so, good times. Mom was right, I can sit like this. I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh, how fancy.
I saw her sitting like this, and I was like, I haven't been able to do that in my chair in forever. I'm too big. So what the hell are you talking about? You're just not limber enough. I'm like, I don't think I can sit like that. It turns out I can. It also helps that I have the feet up, so I'm not getting thrown forward onto the floor.
Hello and welcome once again to the super happy fun Jabbertron Tea Party podcast with Kiki and Cupcake. How do you take your tea? Personally, I take mine black with a little bit of lemon or orange. I like the hint of citrus. Enjoy the show.
I don't have anything to talk about, huh?
It's not true. We have, that fucking new anime you were just jizzing all over the place about.
Oh, teasing Takagi-san?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cute. There's a spin-off manga in which they're adults and married with a kid, and I've been reading the manga while I've been watching the episodes.
Isn't that cheating?
What? Well,
You're supposed to...
the manga just... I mean, it was pretty obvious from, like, the first episode that she's in love with him. Because no girl teases a guy like that who, like, loathes their existence. It's pretty clear that she likes him. If I've learned anything in life, any girl that would spend that much time giving you crap probably has interest. But what do I know? I just work here. Anyway.
I can tell you that as a woman, there are certain women who will put in the time solely out of spite.
Really?
Yes.
Hmm.
But this one's cute. That's good to know.
Well, and the fact that there's a spin-off manga in which they're married kind of told me that she likes him.
Yes. Anime Feminist gave it the A-OK, so I guess it's good.
Well, because he's, like, completely innocent. Like, he's not instigating any part of it. Every time he tries, she just abuses him to no end. So I don't know how it could have any feminist could have an issue with it. Like, he's not horn dogging on her. Like, it's completely it's him trying to get back at her and failing miserably every time. Because she's just that much smarter than he is. She reads him like a goddamn book. Plays him like a violin, etc., etc. But yeah, I'm only like 3 episodes in because I keep reading the manga. But yeah, it's pretty good. I like it a lot. It's real cute. The voice actors are really good too. I like the people they picked.
I would ask who they picked, but I would have no idea who they were.
I don't even know who they are, but I like the voices. Surprisingly, I saw a trailer for Sakura Clear Card Saga, and I don't actually think I like the girl they got to voice her as a middle schooler, junior high student.
Oh, they didn't just use the same actress?
I don't actually know. Maybe? Because, I mean, the last time they dubbed something with Sakura Kinomoto in it was like the mid 90s, so I don't think they used the same actress. Unless they're using the actress from Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, which is possible. I recognize the voice, but I can't remember who the actress is, but just, I don't. I mean, I only saw a trailer, so I have to watch it, but it seemed off somehow. Yeah, let's back up. There we go.
Monica Rail?
Right, that is who they have voicing her.
That name sounds familiar.
She's been around for a long time. She's her day job is I think she's like a script adapter for Funimation, but she's also like a longtime voice actress. Let's see what else she's been in. She's done a ton of work.
This appears to be your first time playing Sakura.
Let's see. She's played. What would you know her from? She's Kyoko in Full Metal Panic. God, she was Hyatt in Excel Saga. She's both Makako and Mrs. Kobayashi in Martian Sister Nadesco. She's Maya from Neon Genesis Evangelion, so she's I think that Maya Ibuki's their classmate who's like the class rep. Oh God, what else has she been in? God, she's in Parasite Dolls. She's in Spiral, Burst Angel, Gadanar, Initial D. Shit, Kodacha. Some Rumbling Hearts, Black Cat, Negima, Shinchan, Speed Grapher. Damn, she was in Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, Moon Phase, Air Gear, Potty Pony Dash.
Hi, cat.
Yeah, no, she's the voice of Sakura from Tsubasa's Reservoir Chronicles. That's why they're reusing her. Because she's the official, like, funny voice for Sakura in clamp titles.
Alright, get off my keyboard.
She's Renge from Ouran High School House Club.
Ooh.
Mei Chang from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. She's the current voice of Bulma in Dragon Ball Z. I mean, she's been in a ton of stuff, so nothing like. I mean, she's indexed in certain magical index. She's Aoi Futabi in Cat Planet Cuties. She's been in a ton of stuff. She's the voice of Stocking from Panty and Stockings. What else has she been in? She's in Guilty Crown. She's in Kokoro Connect. She's in Mac and Kai, Michiko and Hashin, Tenchi War, Gemnar. This is Zombie. Sakurai Undying Love, Appleseed, Future Diary, Jesus. Data Live, Kamisama Kiss, Watamote. Wait a minute. She was who in Watamote? Oh my god, she played the girl, she played the main character from Watamote. Jesus, I didn't even catch that. That makes sense now, but wow. What else has she been in? Holy shit. She's Kuzaha in Shinobio. Who's Kuzaha? I don't remember Kuzaha. Kuzaha. Oh right, okay, yeah. She played the main characters in Shinobio. She plays the main characters, not the little sister, but the junior high sister. Oop, I don't know. Go back. Yeah, she's been in she's been in a lot of shit. Holy crap. She's very active. Oh, she was Yaya in Hanayamada. I love that show. She's Uzal and Pandora and the Crimson Shell. Who played the main character in that, I wonder? Oh, Megan Shipman. Okay, and then Clarion was what? Laura Woodhull. Okay, I love that. That was a surprise. I never thought Pandora and the Crimson Shell would be as good as it was. That's the one. It turns out that it's a prequel to Ghost in the Shell. It talks about the first girl to ever be a full body cyborg.
Yeah.
Right. Ended up being one of my favorite shows of all time, if only because the anime adaptation came after all of the Ghost in the Shell. So there's a whole bunch of nods to standalone complex in the animation. Like at one point, Clarion, the cat girl robot, um, has the laughing man symbol, but it's her. It's a cat girl. I don't remember what the thing says around the outside, but it's something silly, crazy. Just looking through her role, she's in Love Live Sunshine. She's Suyu in wow, she's Sue in My Hero Academia, the frog girl. She's Anna and Simonetta. She's Yui and You Thought There Was Never a Girl Online. God, she's a ton of shit. Holy crap. She's in Area of the Scarlet Ammo AA. God, she's Tanya in Saga Tanya the Evil. She's in Handshakers. God, she's in Brave Witches. Gosick. Who's she in Gosick? Oh, yeah, Carmela and Morella. Okay, she's in Clockwork Planets. She's Sue in Monster Musamune. She's in Cancol. She was Lalico in Space Patrol Lalico. That's hilarious. God, she's super active. Holy moly.
Well, she's been working since, what, 1999?
That sounds right. Yeah, so her debut role was as Makako and Miss Kobayashi in Deska. Yeah, voice actress, ADR director, and scriptwriter. Thought she was working for Funimation. Oh, she's working for both Funimation and Sentai Filmworks. Wow. She must be good. Crazy. But yeah, so I started watching that teasing Takaki-san, and I like it. It's good. It's cute. I also got I got a line on Hyper Police, so I'm now the proud owner of a complete collection of Hyper Police DVDs.
Nice.
Which has been out of print for 15 years, but I managed to get it. And I got Debutante. I watched it this morning. I got a copy of Debutante Detective Corps, which is a 30-minute OVA that is. There's a Benoit the Sage episode that came out like in the last couple of months. He reviewed it. It's a riff on. I want to say it's a riff on Sakura Wars almost. It's not very good. It's only 30 minutes, so I just sat down and watched it this morning because I couldn't sleep. But it's interesting to say the least. It's not very good. It's not very good. It is not very good. I kept turning it off like every 5 minutes, and then I turned it back on like 20 minutes later. Because it's just not very good. I'm finding I'm having a harder and harder time paying attention to stuff, just because it's just not very interesting. Not like the stuff I'm watching that I want to that I really want to watch, that I'm excited for, but like some of the stuff I throw in, I'm just like, this is not very good. And it's mostly older stuff. Like newer stuff, I'm not having as much of a problem with, but I watched all of the Fushigi Yugi TV series. I haven't watched the OVAs or like the movies or anything, but like the TV series is not very good. I'm sorry. Like I know it's a classic. It's not very good. It plays to that really, really stupid. Well, I guess stupid's not the right word, but it plays that like emotional heartstring shit that just not overly dramatic and a lot of like wind and fury, but not a lot of substance. Oh, they're fighting and they'll never be together. And then 3 episodes later, they find out it was just a misunderstanding and they repeat that ad nauseum through the next 52 episodes. Like, the whole premise of everything going wrong is based off the fact that the two girls that get sucked in, one of them thinks that the other one left her to be raped by a bunch of thugs. And it's a complete misunderstanding, but at no point does she ever allow the main character to, like, explain herself and how sorry she is. She's like, no, you left me for dead to be raped by thugs. It's like, what? And like the main big bad guy, like even says that like near the end, he's like, I didn't tell you any of that. You just assume that's what happened. Then everybody feels very stupid and blah blah blah, and everybody makes up and there's happily ever after.
How dare they?
How dare they what? Live happily ever after?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a clamp title. Of course they live happily ever after. Or maybe it just reminds me of a clamp title. I'm not 100% sure, but Fushigi Yugi. It's strange.
Hang on, I'm gonna put a keyboard on a cat.
I mean, I guess I could look it up myself, but I'm just lazy. I'm the laziest of the lazy. Oh, my foot in the wrong position. There we go.
Why is everything taking so much time to load?
You're being observed by the NSA.
Again?
Again? They didn't ever stop.
It does not appear to be a clamp title.
Okay. This reminds me of it, I guess. Which is a fair assessment. But yeah, that was like 2 weeks of my life trying to stomach 52 episodes of what I just found to be absolutely drivel.
God, have I actually ever watched Fushigi?
What, Fushigi Yugi?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I don't know, maybe? It's two girls, or well, basically the main girl is transported to, it's not technically Middle Kingdom's China, but that's what it's based off of. And she's entrusted with the role of being the priestess that will bring the god creature, which is a bird named Suzaku, down from the heavens to grant the kingdom's wishes. Well, it's her wishes, but in the name of the kingdom. And she has to gather the 7 warriors, holy warriors, so that they can summon the beast. And like the first guy she meets is actually one of the warriors, and her and him have an on again, off again romance. Like they never stop really being in love with each other, but all these things come up that they can't be together. You know, she's got to be a virgin because she's the priestess, and then later on, it's that something about like he can never really be in love with her because they can never be together because this, that, the other thing. But then they figure that out, and little by little they work their way until at the end it's finally revealed that there's no way they could ever have been together anyway because this, that, and the other thing. And then she meets his, like, I don't know, there's some weird shit at the very end where they basically like Deus Ex Machina write him back into the story so that they can live happily ever after. And I just went, that was dumb. That was dumb. It's like his reincarnation or something. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm not even going to argue this. This is just dumb. So yeah, I watched it and I wouldn't rate it bad, but it definitely was mediocre in my opinion. I'm shocked that people can be like, I think people have rose-tinted glasses about a lot of older animes. Like, this was the greatest thing since sliced bread. You rewatch it now, and you're like, this wasn't very good. We were just willing to suffer through a lot lower quality because we didn't have as much choice. Because they are saying that we're getting more and more anime series a season than we used to because the cost of doing so keeps getting lower and lower.
Well, yeah.
Which means they have a lot higher chance for a big winner, i.e., stuff like Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Where it was getting a second season.
Maybe they're now coming back and saying that was a misunderstanding or mistranslation.
Right.
But this morning everybody was buzzing because like, oh my god, a second season? And then they're like, no, not so much. But I think it'll get a second season. They may have wanted. I think they may have leaked the information to see what people said, and given that I think the international response was positive, that'll get a second season. I mean, I would watch the. Oh, excuse me. I would watch the continuing adventures. Hell, I would pay to see one of that guy's other series get animated.
Oh, we had more series? Am I losing internet? I might be losing internet. Or not? Nope. Chrome crashed.
Transmission interrupted. Reconnecting transmission.
Sorry about that.
Bweck?
Chrome crashed.
Oh. Well, no shock.
Anyway, you were saying...
I don't even know what I was saying.
You were talking about his other series.
The other series? What other series I talking about? I was talking about Fushigi Yugi, and then I was talking. Oh yeah, how much I thought. I mean, we all knew that Kobayashi's Dragon Maid was going to be big, but like, I was shocked at what a huge response it's had. And that I would gladly take any of that guy's series being adapted because his writing is like amazing. I mean, I know they've already done. I don't understand what my husband is saying. They weren't like that. Wasn't like an actual anime. Was that like web animations or something?
Yeah, they were really short. You could watch them on Crunchyroll though.
Right. I read Ojo Jojo Jo, which is the other one that he just finished writing, and that's great too. But I don't know how that would adapt into a. I mean, you could do an anime, but I just don't know how it would be. It's only 4 volumes of like 60 chapters, so I mean, you could break it down into. I mean, they're not that long, so I guess you could break it down into 12 episodes. So each episode would be like 5 chapters. Or 5 releases, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I mean, they're talking about how this generation has been a lot of, or this era has been a lot of like revivals of old series. Cardcaptor Sakura, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball. What else? They're bringing back other older franchises too. I'm sure it won't be long. Rurouni Kenshin will probably get a reboot. I never did finish Rurouni Kenshin. Trigun, I could see Trigun getting a reboot because Trigun hasn't aged well. It's not bad, but it's just
it has not.
It has not aged. I mean, in some respects, like Sailor Moon is the same way. Like old OG Sailor Moon isn't quite on the same level as modern Sailor Moon. And I actually think Dragon Ball has aged the best of all those big franchises.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even like after watching original Dragon Ball, like not even Dragon Ball Z, but like the initial adventures of Kid Goku, it's like Dragon Ball was its best when they were not taking themselves seriously, and in some ways, Dragon Ball Super has regained some of that original Akira Toriyama spirit of being almost cartoonish in humor. You know, at the over exaggerated facial reactions. I always go back to the first time Krillin sees Goku turn into a giant ape, his eyes bug out of his head, and it works. Like it's understood. It's a gasp. It's a gaspment of, oh my god, what am I seeing? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of like, oh yeah, Fruits Basket is coming back. They're redoing Fruits Basket. That's going to be interesting.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Right.
That I remember watching.
Right. Fruits Basket has not aged great, but it's not bad at the same sense. Not like Trigun's like a prime example of like it would benefit from a reboot or redo or whatever you want to call it. A modern interpretation, because it's not, I don't know. I mean, like, what would you say? It's just not really true to the source material anymore. I mean, it kind of starts that way, but at the end, they kind of ran out of time and just kind of did their own thing with it. It's the same that happened to Fruits Basket, where they just kind of like wrote their own ending because they weren't going to get another season.
Yeah.
Plenty of stuff like On My Goddess that I don't think I'd actually like to see. I'd actually like to see a good modern interpretation of Oh My Goddess. Like, I feel like the story is there. They would just have to comb out some of the filler that the guy wrote over like the last 30 years. I just find it interesting how my my tolerance for faffing about has been so what's the word I want? So reduced with age.
I mean, you just don't have the tolerance for crap anymore.
Right?
I hear that. I do essentially what you did with stuff now too. Just kind of pause it, go do other things, come back to it, maybe unpause it.
Right. Well, that's the problem. Is it's like I have this gigantic pile, and it takes me forever to watch stuff because like I'm just like not enthused by it. It's kind of unfortunate, like in its own way, because it's just not. A lot of the stuff is just not great.
Mm-hmm.
People are not, or these committees are not real. Like they're so like you get to a point where you realize so many stories are built with the same framework, and a lot of people or a lot of companies, committees, etc., they don't put a lot of effort into even building a good strong skeleton, foundation to their stories. It's it's the same stuff. Guy's going to high school and there's a bunch of girls and he's a pervert, or he gets a bloody nose every time they touch him, or whatever. It's some variation of this like tried and true formula, but they don't do anything to set themselves apart. And so it's just the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not that interesting. I watched Mayo Chiki, which is about the guy's the son of like a world-class lady wrestler, and his little sister's an aspiring like wrestler, and so they like train every morning. She does wrestling moves on him and stuff, and so he's real tough. But because his mom and his sister did wrestling moves on him his entire life, he's got this weird, like, he gets a bloody nose anytime a girl touches him. It's like a self-defense reaction to to women, but like it's such a dumb concept. Like it's funny the first time and then it just gets dumber and dumber every time they do it after. Because he never there's no evolution from that. He doesn't get better, he doesn't get over it. He just gets a bloody nose every time a girl touches him. And he like, he builds this relationship with this other girl and they like each other and they want to go out, but every time she touches him, he gets a bloody nose and he never gets better. It's just it's a gimmick. It's a story device to tell a joke every episode that the girl touched his back, he got a bloody nose, or she gave him a kiss, he's got blood coming out of his face. Like it's not funny the 30th time. It's not entertaining. The guy's got to grow from it somehow. I don't know what the answer was going to be, like what the right way to do it is, but like if you're gonna have people have an issue, they have to grow from it at some point. They can't just keep repeating it over and over again. It's Looney Tunes scenario. Status quo is upheld, and therefore, no matter what happens, you're always back to square one at the end of the episode. And I just find it like, I mean, like I'm not into watching authors like kill off characters left and right. Like I feel like a purposeful death can have a lot of meaning, but you get one of two things: either nobody dies or everybody dies for a stupid reason, and then they're just dead and it's whatever, or they bring them back at the end. Somebody makes the wish and everybody's resurrected at the end.
Everybody lives.
Right. Fushigi Yugi does that at the end. One of the wishes she makes is that all the evil done by the evil empire would be erased, and so all the people that were all of her friends who were killed throughout the, their sacrifices and et cetera, her wish that the evil be erased from the world basically means that they're brought back to life, that the god creature can do that. But it's kind of like it robs the story of all meaning by having them brought back at the end. Like, yeah, it's a happy ending, but why did they have to die then? If you're just going to bring them back at the end. Like, I accept it. I accept it as a story device in Dragon Ball because it's explicitly stated that, like, that's part of the deal. That's how they can have, a guy's not these fighters are not afraid to sacrifice themselves because they know, like, where they know for a fact, because what Goku's told them, like, when you die, like, if you were fighting the good fight, like, you go to a nice place where, like, you're taken care of. Like, there's no fear of death because if you were fighting the good fight, like, you're not there's something beyond death for you. You get to glorious Valhalla. Yeah, I find it almost more interesting that, like, Team 4 started doing, like, the abridged series and stuff. Like, they've done a better job, like, with that than the actual writers have done with the real thing. Like, Alucard in Hellsing Abridged, like, story arc, his character arc, is better in the abridged series than it is in the actual fucking TV show. Like, he has character growth in the abridged series. Like, he has a beginning, a middle, and an end to his character. A bunch of dudes doing it for fun gave a character more growth than the actual story writers did. Like, they do a whole bit at the end of the abridged series where after in Hellsing Ultimate Abridged, where he eats Schrodinger's soul and he gets, like, like, stuck within his own consciousness, and he has to, like, interact with all the souls he's consumed. And he ends up being, like, like a armchair psychiatrist to all these people, and, like, he has this whole conversation with everybody when he comes back into existence about, like, how he spent an eternity inside of his head talking to the souls of the people he consumed over the last 1,000 years and like helping them deal with their issues so they could move on. And it's like, and the very last thing he sees is his own soul. And then there's this whole thing about like his soul looks at him and goes, "Are we bad? I don't know. Are we? Are we a bad people? We killed a lot of people. Yeah, we did. Like, it's dumb, but it is a character arc. He grows from this. There's this whole premise in a few sentences that he expresses that he's a different person now than he was yesterday. And that's almost more interesting than just having him be a psychotic vampire killer who, you know, blows away, you know, demon monsters for shits and giggles, tee hee hee. I don't know. Like, it's done in a comedic fashion, but it's still character growth. Like, he's still a different person today than he was yesterday, and he'll probably be a different person tomorrow than he was today. Like, I like it. I like it when, like, it doesn't have to be a huge character growth, but like people changing over time is interesting. That they're not the same character at the beginning that they are at the end. It doesn't have to be anything world shaking. They don't have to go from being, you know, a zero to a hero. It could be as simple as like understanding something about themselves that they didn't know at the beginning. That's like the whole, that feels like that's the whole character or the whole story arc of Steven Universe. Is like there's this whole like ongoing arc of all the characters are evolving. They're all changing. They're not the same characters at the end that they were at the beginning. I feel like Kiki's gonna murder me and use my skin for a rug.
What?
Yeah, this look like you fucking idiot.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfectly normal look.
Hmm. So Kiki was always considering skinning me alive. Good to know. Good to know.
My face makes perfectly normal faces.
Do you have an RBF? Are you an RBF, Kiki?
My face aside, I don't think what you're asking of a story is that all that hard.
Right.
Like, ow.
Cat's off to see what's going on.
The dog barks, so the cat freaked out. Like, I'm gonna open the door and let you see.
Guess I'll still sit here and wait and see.
Anyway, like
Right.
as simple as a boy getting nosebleeds, suddenly developing the ability to not get nosebleeds at everything.
Or just slowly getting them less often as he becomes more
I
comfortable.
mean, I'll give you getting that nosebleeds when she takes her shirt off, because that's very Japanese. But
no,
when she
yeah.
simply touches you,
No,
that's different.
It's like there's one where he gets knocked unconscious by it because one of the girls kisses him on the cheek, and he just like literally like he's a blood rocket, and he's just out. And it started comedic, but it ends with him unconscious and them all going, "Are you all right? Are you gonna be okay?" And he blacks out. And it's like, I don't know if those two concepts worked well together. Like, they played off as a joke, but they also played off as like a serious affliction too. Like, if a girl gets too close to him, like he could die from the blood loss. It's like, well, is it a serious affliction or is it a comedic device? What is it?
It also makes his mother and sister out to be terrible people.
Right? Well, you never even meet his mother. She's just talked about like in flashbacks because she's like overseas wrestling somewhere. I don't think they ever state where specifically, but she's not in Japan. She's like either in the US or somewhere like I think they say she's in the US because I don't think it's initially stated that she's doing something overseas and they make it sound like it's China, but then like eventually you see like photos. Like you start get like she sends letters back, and it's pretty clearly looks like she's wrestling like somewhere in the U.S. because there's a mixture of guys in like luchador masks and like bad like WWE like knockoff wrestlers, and but his sister's like constantly just like abusing him, not abusing him, but like practicing on him.
Abusing him.
Right. But it's I don't know, like I liked it. Like it wasn't bad. Don't misunderstand me. Like I didn't think it was like terrible, but it was just I've watched this premise so many times, and they did such a absolute slipshod, I think is what I want, job at writing his character growth that it just doesn't really work out. Like in a way, like I wanted to see him start to get over it. Like, you know, if a girl touched him, he didn't immediately get a bloody nose. Like he could. There's a thing where he carries a girl up a staircase because she's got like a bad, like she sprained an ankle or something, and he's like he's got like tissue shoved up his nose because he's just bleeding like crazy, and it's like that's not character growth. I mean, it is character growth. He's willing to just, you know, fight through it, but like this is like 10 out of 13 episodes in. He should be getting over this. He's been like interacting with these girls regularly for months, but he's still just, anytime he comes in contact with a girl, his nose just shoots blood all over the wall. It's like, I don't get it. And they all keep talking about how they're going to get him over the phobia, but he never gets over it. I don't know. It seems like writers have a hard time writing any amount of growth into their characters.
I don't know if that's like a secondary editor issue or just bad writing that still gets put on because people will watch it.
Right. People's bars are low enough that, I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. I think my personal bar for what I expect out of writing is a lot higher than most people. That's partially education. That's partially amount consumed. That's partially the people that I interact with, that I talk to about it, you and my boss and my coworkers, you know, people who are critically observing and digesting what they're seeing, what they're reading, what they're listening to. And I definitely noticed that my personal bar for what I expect out of a show I'm going to watch is set a lot higher. Like there's a lot of shows that a lot of people think are like, you know, best of the season. And I'm going, it's good, but it's not the best thing I've ever seen. Like, it's the best of the season? Maybe. Is it the best of the year? Probably. And then there's stuff I agree with. Like I loved Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I still watch it from time. I still watch episodes out of it from time to time because I enjoyed it a lot, and I like the characters, and I like their interactions with each other. And there's a lot of real human interaction. It's hard to find stories in which characters have what I would call human reactions to each other. You get a lot of, with Japanese media, you get a lot of, you know, baka baka baka, slap the guy around. You don't get a lot of people having actual human reactions to each other. Like, part of the reason why I gave High School DxD a pass is that the girls that like the main character initially or have interest in him don't immediately slap him around when like he accidentally catches one of them changing. It's not immediately screaming and throwing things at him. And as dumb as that show is, like, the fact that the characters don't all react in a stereotypical fashion is interesting to me. That they would write some of the characters to be like, like it was an accident and not immediately throw something heavy at him for it. He opens the door by accident, goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and it's not just immediately, cuts to him getting hit in the head with a big metal pan. Like, he's given a chance to say, "I'm sorry," and shut the door, and apologies are accepted, and it's understood that initially it was a mistake. He wasn't doing it on purpose. He's not a pervert. I mean, yes, he is a pervert, but it wasn't an intent. Like, not all actions are assumed to be an intentional act of, perversion. And I mean, that's one of those, like, breaking the trope kind of reactions that I really enjoy. Like, I tend to think that people have really low standards for media, partly because we have a lot more to pick from. But stuff is there's a lot of bad writing in popular media. I mean, and I'm not just picking on anime. It's true of like American television too. It's a lot of really mediocre writing.
Which is why I currently do not watch a lot of Western media.
Right. I mean, I get that in books too. Like, people are not original. Like, if somebody comes up with a great archetype or a great idea, everyone else copies it ad nauseum until it's not interesting anymore. Let's see. What's a good example lately of this? 10 years ago, cute girls doing things as a concept. I don't remember what was the first show to really take off with that, but like the first real big, like, mega hit in Japan was KO, cute girls playing music. So then there was just tons of like idol, you had like the K-ons and Love Lives and stuff. So they're like, oh, that's popular. Well, we'll, all cute girls doing all the things. And a lot of the stuff was drivel. It wasn't good. It wasn't interesting. It was just a shallow, Xerox copy of a concept. No one actually took the time to put thought into, like, it's not that you can't copy something and make something on a, from a similar genre its own creature. It's definitely been done, because out of this, like, cute girls doing things, we got Girls in Panzer. You got I always forget the name of it, but the one about the girls that go camping that hasn't even gotten an American release yet. But like it's about girls camping, and it's
You mean Laid Back Camp?
Laid Back Camp, yeah. Like, widely considered one of the better, like, cute girls doing things animes of like recent times. Obviously you have the Love Live saga, which is like 2 different series. There's gonna be a crossover movie. It's bigger than God. But there's a lot of knockoffs of that. There's a lot of knockoffs of like K-On. And just like, Sailor Moon had a lot of pretenders, and Cardcaptor Sakura had a lot of pretenders. And then you had, people who had the right idea and then turned it on its head. The guy who wrote Madoka Magica took the idea of Cardcaptor Sakura and the whole magical girl thing and just, nope, screw it. We're going a different direction. And as much as I can't stand horror, like, I appreciated that they did something original with the framework. They didn't just make a shallow, Xerox copy of a concept. They didn't put any heart or soul into it. Like, you can make something good with anything, just a little bit of effort into the story and the writing, and like, don't just go for, like, just because a concept is popular doesn't mean that it's going to be a good show. It'll be a show, but it won't necessarily be a good show. Like the amount of iterations of Ghost in the Shell, like there are some really good ones, there are some really crap ones, there are some that are phenomenal that stand alone. The Western movie in comparison to standalone Complex, this TV series, or even Arise, the OVA series. Like Arise is definitely not as good as standalone Complex. Standalone Complex, in my opinion, is far and away superior to the original movies. The movies were not bad in any sense of the word, but they don't capture the spirit of the manga, what the writer was trying to get, or the mangaka was trying to get across when he was writing it in the 80s. You know, Ghost in the Shell is supposed to come off as the Japanese interpretation of, you know, film noir, neo-futuristic, cyberpunk. You know, it was the guy was riffing on the concept of Blade Runner through a Japanese perspective. And so there's a lot of cheeky humor injected into what is, for all intents and purposes, a grim, dark noir background. And in some senses, standalone Complex and its successors have done a better job of interpreting that than Mamoru Oshii's movies did. The movies got the grim dark really good, but they didn't bring across the amount of humor that writer has. And if you ever read any of his stuff, there's a lot of really what I would call juvenile humor. He writes a lot of really stupid jokes into serious stories. And the idea being is that nobody's serious all the time. Doesn't matter how hard-boiled the detective is, if he's a human being, or she or he's a human being, or they're a human being, eventually they're going to crack a smile. Nobody's a stone wall. And as tough and as serious as the Major is, she does tell jokes. She laughs, she has fun, she smiles, and that's like a big part of what makes his writing work for the characters, is that they're human beings. Yes, they are police officers. They have a serious job that is full of serious business, and they're dealing with, you know, concepts and events that nobody ever would want to see in real life. But they are in the end human beings, and they have feelings. They tell jokes to each other. They make funny comments to each other. I could go for hours about this. I mean, I appreciate more the injection of certain human qualities that we all have when you're talking about like seriously bad situations, more than I have just like constant grim, dark, paranoia, horror, psychological thriller, no stops, you know, it's all serious. Oh, everybody's dying and it's horrible. It's like at some point somebody's gonna crack.
Somebody's gotta make a fart joke.
No matter how bad it is, somebody's gonna crack. And I think that's part of the reason why I don't enjoy a lot of like horror and like suspense and stuff, is that it's just constant bad, worse, bad, worse, bad, worse. It's like, yes, there are times and there's going to be places that it's just like that, but most of the human condition, nobody suffers that consistently, even in a fantasy setting, without some reprieve from the madness occasionally. No one would survive that long. I mean, like, I tend to believe at some point, if you're running from the monster, eventually you gotta sleep sometime, you gotta eat sometime. And a lot of this, like, you know, horror, I always pick on horror because I just think horror is like, horror done right is amazing. Horror done wrong is like 90% of what's put out onto the market. It's just grotesque, and it's like it lacks any subtlety. Like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is one of the progenitors of what we consider horror, and it's horrifying because the horror is not that there's a monster, it's that the monster tried to interact with his creator, and his creator's an asshole, and so the monster reflects what he is given, and he follows his creator through all of his life, dogging him. And it's not Freddy or Jason or whatever, where it's just like, on him all the time with the knife pulled. It's that constant like a phantom that's constantly dogging him. And that's like, and even in the end, like when amends are made and whatnot, it's just this constant feeling that nothing was quite right. And it's all because the main character's an idiot, that he never grew. And because he didn't grow, all of his bad aspects of his personality were reflected onto his creation. And honestly, it's like this whole, it's they always say, well, what is the moral of the story of Frankenstein? It's like you boil it all down, and it's literally, don't be a dick. Don't be an asshole. Like you can get into like the metaphysical concepts of like creation and humanity, but what it really boils down to is don't be a narcissistic asshole. Because Dr. Frankenstein is a narcissistic asshole, and it reflects back onto how his creation acts around him. Like all the things that it does, that the creation does, it does because he's a dick. Because he doesn't think he's wrong, because he doesn't think he's done anything wrong, because he lets his mind run wild over the concept of being the greatest, and he just it's like it just gets into this whole concept of just I as bad as that is, that's what I want to see in writing. Like I want to see people tell a story and not just have characters interacting on a very shallow, point to point level. It's more interesting. A bad character in the sense of behavior is more interesting than a character with no significant personality quirks. Like, I loathe Victor Frankenstein. The character upsets me because he's such a narcissistic dick.
Then I suppose he's doing his job right.
I'm sorry, my headphones went mute. I was talking for so long. What did you say?
I said he was doing his job right.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's what I mean by like horror. The horror I like is very humanistic. I don't like, what are the, like, people always say like, well, why is horror like the one genre that you don't like? It's like, because it's almost always written badly. Modern horror is either spectacularly amazing or completely fucking stupid, in my opinion. Like, and I quote, my favorite alternative ending that didn't get into the movie, but I thought it was the best real world reaction to something that horrible happening, is the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The B-roll ending that they ended up not going with is the FBI rolling into that town and basically arresting and or having to shoot everyone that was involved with the kidnappings and murders of the teenagers that kept disappearing. And my exact words were, after so many people disappear, someone's going to ask questions. You don't lose 24 human beings who were in schools, who were in jobs, and not ask why they disappeared somewhere between point A and point B and narrow it down to where they're disappearing. One person is a statistic, 24 is a question mark. And
they went with the ending. Like, I don't remember what the actual ending they went with, but the ending that they didn't go with that they filmed was federal police rolling into this town and basically arresting and or killing everybody involved. You know, the people who resisted ended up getting shot. The people who didn't end up going to face charges because 24 college students went missing over a summer. That's in the real world. If that many people go missing, someone's gonna ask a question. Like, that many people don't go missing and go, yeah, they're probably, they faked their own death and went to Mexico. No, 24 college students were missing according to the story. Of course, someone's gonna ask, like, someone along the line is gonna be like investing with. Sorry, that was a message. Like, and that's what I was saying about these like, I mean, not like this, like the supernatural stuff is whatever. It's like, I don't even get involved with that. But the stuff where it's like, some dude's going around killing people and skinning them. Yes, of course, someone's gonna ask a question eventually. So only so many people can die before someone goes, huh, that's weird.
Yes, I'm sure that's what they're going to say.
Right. Like, there's these universes where there's like these serial killers. They're like, Buffalo Bills and stuff, and they're like, and no one questioned where all these women were going. No investigations, no nothing. I mean, in that universe there was for Buffalo Bill, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you get these like horrible, monstrous people. They're like, oh yeah, no one ever questioned, why Michael Myers was killing people. Really? Because it seems to me that someone would question after about the third or fourth missing person. The supernatural shit, I don't even get involved with. The Freddy Kruegers and Jasons of the world. It's like Exorcist, etc., etc. It's like, whatever. That's the paranormal. Not even worth my breath to argue that shit. I just find that, I mean, that's high fantasy for all intents and purposes.
So unrelated.
Right.
Apparently there is a fake Bill Murray's dead picture roaming around the internet.
Oh, yeah? That's fun, I guess.
Yes. Not only does it get his age wrong, but it has Americans United Under Trump on it.
Oh, great.
It says he's 81 when he was only in his 60s. He is 68.
Right.
And obviously alive.
Right.
Unless he dies before I get this out.
Which is possible. It's possible.
Shut up!
I know we recorded this in February, but it's only June, Cupcake.
Just because I'm going through a severe depressive episode.
Oh, is that what they call living in this country?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I had to make the joke. Otherwise,
I wouldn't put it past most of us going through one right now under Trump.
Must make jokes. The existential dread will get me.
uh,
I just about shit a brick for a second. Another actress has stepped forward accusing Tom Hanks of being nice. All I saw was another actress step forward accusing Tom Hanks. I'm like, really? Seriously? Even Tom Hanks? God damn.
Do you want to see Gucci's blackface sweater?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Oh. God damn it. Hang on. Stupid auto-playing stuff. Where am I here? This one and there. Down here. Oh god, they're not smart.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how did that get past so many things? And nobody stop and go. Wait.
If I had to take a guess, you want to bet the designer isn't from this country?
Probably.
Because this is one of the only places in the world where blackface has that connotation. And with Gucci, it could have been somebody from France, somebody from Italy. They don't have that same historical background for this stuff. I can almost guarantee whoever designed it probably was not from around here. Like, I'm not saying it isn't inappropriate, but like it just doesn't have the same connotation in other places in the world that it does here. God, people are stupid. Like, if it had just been black with no red lips, like, it just would have looked silly and no one would have questioned it. I mean, you could make it red, blue, green. You know, like as soon as they had like if it was just black and then they had like one that was green or blue, any other color would have just been like, oh, that's just whatever. It's just colors. But the red lips is just like, you dumb fucker. I don't remember the exact quote, but my dad used to say it over and over again. Never attribute to malice what can be more easily attributed to stupidity. Ignorance is far more common than maliciousness. Someone was dumb, no one caught it. Someone probably, I'm assuming, I'm just going to make the assumption, not American, wouldn't that be funny and cute and kind of quirky? And then, you know, it made it through all these levels of design, and probably half the people doing the Q&A were not from here. And then finally it got over here, and somebody went, Jesus, fuck, what were you thinking? They're like, what? And then someone has to show them, like, the entire Wikipedia article on, you know, gollywogs and shit. And they're like, oh, right. Whoops. So that's what you Americans meant by a minstrel show. But yes, I agree. It is hideous. I mean, that's ugly to begin with, in my opinion.
The Giver has been turned into a visual novel.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's like my all-time favorite book.
Right.
And I have seen all the bad interpretations.
Right.
Like the latest movie.
I don't think I even saw the movie.
Don't.
That bad? Like, on a scale of 1 to Jesus Christ, it's a rolling dumpster fire, how close did we get?
Jeez. The dumpster's pretty on fire, I would
So
say.
like a 9, 8, 9, somewhere in there?
Yeah. It's not totally on fire, but it's getting there.
So it's like an 8, 9. It's almost to a rolling dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Because, like, I found, like, my gold standard as of late, or modern films, or modern-ish films, has been the Ghost in the Shell adaptation, which is, like, a solid 9.5. Like, if you take it as a whole, it's a lot better, but if you take it just by how badly they wrote the characters, it's a good 9.5. And I quote Major Miracilian. If they had simply cribbed off of the characters from Standalone Complex, it would have been a totally fine film. Not amazing, but it would have been a good interpretation. The characters didn't in any way act like they're
I don't understand how you can get a universe to look right, the actors to look right, and then completely like miswrite every character. And I quote, Bato is a meathead. Why is Bato a meathead? He's one of like the most like well thought out characters in that entire unit. And it just blew my mind they wrote him like a meathead.
They did it just to piss you off.
Right? Like, definitely one of the toughest, being an Army Ranger. Like, that was the whole where the meathead thing came from. Well, he's the big tough guy. Yeah, he is the big tough guy. But he also is, like, one of the more, like, you know, pragmatic thinkers in that unit. Like, there's a reason why he's where he is. He's, like, the fourth in command. Just, oh, God, that movie was so bad. And it sounds like The Giver was on that same level of like, let's take a concept and completely fuck it up, and then act really surprised when it doesn't make any money.
Did it flop? I don't remember.
I don't know. I mean, it was that low on the radar that I didn't even, like it didn't even ding my radar as even being out. Because I don't honestly even remember you talking about seeing it. So like that tells you how little it dinged my radar. Really, Donald Trump, really. Shut up, eBay. Who asked you anyway?
eBay asked you things. It made its budget back.
Well, that's good. Now what? What? Why is this guy messaging me? What?
He wants to sell you anime. It won an award.
If it's not too much trouble, can you please leave a positive feedback? Thank you. Bite me? God, I can't stand it when people do that. Asking for positive feedback when you sell me something. Like, now I'm just definitely going to give you negative feedback. All right, what were we talking about? I'm sorry. I like that makes you laugh. I'm sorry.
It's alright.
Ooh, adding that to my list. Turn it down again. It's too loud. All right, there we go. Yeah, sorry. One of my pet peeves is like when I buy things from merchants and they send me a message going, "Please give me positive feedback." You get a 0. Why? Because you messaged me and asked me for positive feedback. About the only people I give positive feedback for that ask for it are like when I'm at a restaurant, like a chain place, like a Chipotle, not even Chipotle, like White Castle. They said that their district manager was looking at like the surveys, and I was like, "Oh, I'll give you a good survey. That's cool. I know how that is." Like up in there, they're like, "I need positive. We need 10s, otherwise they're gonna shit cat us." Like, yeah, I gotcha. Because anything less than a 10 is a fail, which I've never understood, but whatever. I think they are gonna do a dub of the movies.
Oh.
They just announced that they got the American rights. That's what I'm assuming it's probably about.
No, there's a new film in Japan.
Hmm?
There's a new film in Japan.
Right, yeah. That's what I meant. They got the rights to the new film. It's getting a dub, I think, in May, if I remember what they said right.
Well, everyone looks very Code Geass-y.
What instead of trying to use science to explain vaccines, we just told people it contained magic of some sort? Vaccination is an ancient practice going back at least a few hundred years that draws on your body's natural healing abilities to let you fight disease naturally. That's actually how they work. Shit. Best reaction ever. I'm still interested to see how they're gonna do a live action Kim Possible movie.
They sent out some teasers, didn't they?
Yeah, they showed what Rufus was gonna look like.
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty much what I expected. Like, no surprises or anything.
Oh, the premiere date's coming up.
For what?
Kim Possible.
Oh, cool.
It's next week.
Oh, wow. People are just piling on Vic Mignogna.
On what?
Oh, you haven't heard about that? Vic Mignogna, the voice of Edward Elric. This is I think his most famous role at this point. It's been alleged that he has been basically sexually harassing / assaulting women for years, and it reached the boiling point, and now everybody's just rolling over on him. As of today at 1700, Jamie Marachi alleges Mignogna pulled her hair. So, her claim to fame, or her most recent one, she's the voice of Toru in Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. She alleges he ran his fingers through her hair, seizing her hair at the base of her scalp and pulling her towards him, followed by whispering a sexual comment to her. Like, a lot of women that he's quote unquote worked with have been basically rolling over or coming out. Whatever turn of phrase you want to use there. Rolling over probably isn't the right one. I just meant like everybody's basically unleashing how they really feel about him all of a sudden. Although I don't think he's ever going to beat the guy that got caught with child pornography. That dude's pretty much, I don't even remember his name at this point, but he pretty well cemented his place as #1 douchebag in Japanese voice or anime voice acting.
Yeah.
But there's been accusations for years of that Mignogna's had issues with his behavior around women. But now it's kind of all coming, it's all coming out. God. The comments on the post are just hilarious. Not hilarious. They're just crazy. Yeah, because who was it? Somebody else just rolled over on him, too. Who was the other lady that came out against him? Oh, it was Monica Real. We were just talking about her.
Yes, we were.
Neil Kaplan. A lot of people. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Too bad he couldn't keep his shit in check.
Hope he gets what's coming to him.
I mean, at a certain point, initially I kind of wrote it off as until there was more, evidence. Let's wait and see. But there's a lot of people, male, female, etc., have been stating issues they've seen with him, and it's like, yikes. Not to play the sexism card, but when other dudes you work with are going, yeah, he's kind of a sexual deviant, it's like, shit. Because usually they play the, well, it's all women complaining. It's like, dude, even his male coworkers are complaining that he has issues. That's a first for me. Because usually the other guys are going, he was a nice guy. I don't know why people would think that. The other dudes he works with are going, nah, he's been doing this for years. It's like, well, okay.
Why didn't you say anything?
Right.
Well, it's almost like we bred you not to say anything.
Right. And I quote, when one bad apple spoils the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking through ANN now for like news that I find interesting that isn't like completely like outside my wheelhouse. So they're having or I should say, Right Stuff is having a sale that ends tonight on I always forget. Is it Eastern Discotheque / Eastern Star releases? So I ordered the missing parts of Series 1 and Series 2 of Lupin the Third.
Oh, neat.
Because I'm one of those nerds. I like Lupin the Third.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's just so
Other
old.
than he's a perv.
Well, that goes with it being a 1970s anime.
Yeah. He's an honorable perv.
Right. It's what? What?
The look on your face.
Well, okay. Every time somebody says an honorable perv, I always go to the one scene from Series 2, which I actually have that episode on one of the... Because I have parts 1 and 2 of Series 2. Part 3, which I think is the last chunk of it. Part 3 is the part they never dubbed. It's all the stuff they never finished. So they got... That just came out, and they got it, and blah, blah, blah. Hey, Lupin, look! It's a girl sunbathing on a boat. Follow me to the rowboat. Rows over. Excuse me, ma'am. But kitty inspector. Which always makes me laugh. Just the excuse me, ma'am. But kitty inspector. That and when he jumps out of his pants at a girl in a bed. I don't remember what episode that is, but they spoof it in FLCL when Naota's dad does that to Haruko, and she hits him with a punching, a boxing glove on a spring.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happens in the in Lupin. I don't think he actually makes the connection because something hits him, but I don't think it's not a boxing glove. Might be a frying pan. I feel like she hits him with something as he comes down in the original anime. It's like a blackjack or a frying pan or something. She's got it off, like she's got her arm off the bed, and when he comes down at her, she just whips it up and catches him midair and knocks him out. I got that. What else? I got something else that looked really cool. Oh, Project Echo.
Oh, Project Echo is the best.
Yeah, I got all 4 volumes. I've been meaning to buy it for a while. Those were the things I decided to get. I got Lupin the Third Series 1, and then the missing part of Series 2, and then all 4 Project Echo DVDs. There was other stuff I wanted, but I was trying to keep it to like $100. Like I didn't want to go crazy, and that was about as much as I wanted to go at.
Oh, it's such a wonderful classic from my
Project
Echo?
Years.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It looks like it's old as dirt.
Oh, it's old. I remember the dub being kind of hackney, but it was so awesome.
Is. I mean, when you're that old, though, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I got Project Echo 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the Lupin the Thirds.
Oh, just enjoy the panty shots.
Right.
It's that era.
Right. Well, the thing is, like, I don't have an issue with that stuff because I feel like at some point they were kind of coy about it. Like, it wasn't. I mean, it was obvious, but it was like supposed to be all in good fun. Like, and then after a while, they just got like overtly sexual about it. Like, I don't mind the occasional panty shot. It's like when they don't stop. It's just like nonstop panty shots. It gets a little annoying. That's out.
It was like that for a little while.
Right. Oh shit, K-On! World Tour collection comes out this week. This week? No, next week. Next week.
Don't you already own it?
No. I own it on DVD. I'm getting it on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay.
I gotta have it in glorious HD. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. I have my reasons.
Your fucking 4K monitors.
Damn right! Oh yeah! I'm Dr. Cupcake! What? I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't either.
It was crazy. Crazy! I'm insane in the membrane!
Oh, I need to shave.
Yes, I need to shave as well. But thankfully I don't need a haircut anymore. I got that today, so now I don't have as much hair up here.
I need to buzz my sides.
Right?
I got wings.
I don't have hair in the back right now. It feels weird. I had hair like down my neck like that, and now I have like I can't even see it, but it's like he actually tapered it in the back, so like I don't have like I have hair like to like here on my neck right now, and usually it's like down on my shoulders. And my hair this short doesn't look so bad that it's receding either. I have like such a bad receding hairline now, it's not even funny. Ugh. Why must I be a bald? Or why must I be going bald? What's really weird is it's only receding at the temples. I'm not losing it on top.
That's not so weird. That's something to look forward to. That's a blessing.
What, that just recedes at the temples?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because it used to be, my hairline used to go straight across like this, and now I've got like bald spots back here. Not as bad, it still goes straight up, but I constantly worry that some morning I'm going to wake up with like half of my hair missing. Oh, I guess I'm shaving my head. A big bald spot right on top. Because that's exactly what I've already decided. Like, if I go bald like through the center, I'm just gonna shave my head.
Hope you have a good head shape.
Like a golf ball. Don't ask me how I know, but I know it's golf ball shaped.
Does that mean it has little divots?
Lumpy like a potato. We didn't have those fun helmets to shape our skulls when I was born. And Conehead. No, it's when I was young, I used to buzz my head, and I know I've got like it's fine like through here, but you get to the back of my head, it's like there's like weird divots all over the back of my skull. Also, goddamn, my scalp is dry. Even after I treated it with tar oil, it's still itchy as hell. And no, I don't have lice before you say it.
I wasn't going to.
Good. The last time I said, my head still itches even after that. Somebody goes, well, maybe you have lice. I'm like, shut up. Your order was received. When did I order this? Oh, not that far back. I was deleting all the orders I've actually received now. I'm like, I don't need that anymore. I don't need that. I'm still waiting on Ancient Magus Bride. I cannot wait to get that. I want to actually see Ancient Magus Bride, but it hasn't. It was released on the 29th of January, but I still haven't. My copy hasn't shipped yet. I think a lot of people ordered it. It was very popular. I don't know. I've been watching anime at such a weird clip, like new stuff, old stuff, stuff that just seems interesting. Girls Last Tour looks like it's going to be fun. I own that. I haven't watched it, but I opened the box today, finally.
I've watched like 3 episodes of that. It's pretty cute.
Okay. That's what it was. I was told, like, it and Made in the Abyss are, like polar opposites of each other. Like, Made in the Abyss looks cute, but is horrifying, and Girls Last Tour looks like it's a survival horror anime, but is actually basically just cute girls surviving the apocalypse.
Pretty much.
Like there are undertones of the world's kind of a shithole, but like there's never like a great amount of danger, is what I was told.
I mean, they have a gun.
I mean, who doesn't have a gun in the apocalypse?
I mean, in the apocalypse, sure.
Sometimes I wish the hyperbolic time chamber was real, so I could take a day, and by I mean a day in this time, but a year in the hyperbolic time chamber to catch up on all the anime I haven't watched. Keep this pile down a little bit.
You feel far less bad about pausing.
Right.
Well, we're almost at 2 hours according to this.
We should probably stop.
Thank you once again for listening to the super happy fun Jabbertron Tea Party with Kiki and Cupcake. Pain is everywhere, pain is everything, but at least I have the comfort of a nice warm cup of tea. Farewell my fellow internet beings.
So, good night, Cupcake.
Good night, Kiki.
Mouse, go over here. Good mouse, good.
Transmission terminated.